Welcome back to Analytical Strategy. Today we are talking about 5 of the most polarizing seasons in Survivor history. Now there are some seasons of Survivor which are widely considered to be top tier, and there are some which are commonly viewed as the worst seasons of the show to come out since Survivor has been aired. However, within 40 seasons of Survivor, it is not unsurprising that some of the seasons of this show have vastly differing opinions from the viewing audience. For something to be polarizing, it causes a division between the audience based on their opinions of the show. The seasons we are going to be discussing have this polarizing effect, with some viewers thinking these seasons are amazing, or possibly even their favourite seasons ever, whilst other people may think the complete opposite. I will try to discuss each of these 5 seasons with a neutral standpoint, based on comments and season rankings that I've seen each of these seasons in previously. And to kick things off, the first season we're going to be discussing is actually the most recent season of Survivor, and that is Survivor Winners at War. Now, whilst I haven't seen a lot of season ranking lists since the commencement of this season, I have read a lot of forums, and this season really got a lot of heat from some viewers, whilst others absolutely loved it. Now, going into this season, obviously expectations were extremely high, which is why I think a lot of viewers didn't enjoy it as much as they anticipated. I also felt a lot of the time within Winners at War, some components of the story were quite difficult to follow due to the edit, with so many amazing characters, all trying to fit into the edit, along with changing alliances and gameplay, along with the edge of extinction being into play. It is hard to fit all of those components into a 45-minute episode. So there are also other factors which a lot of viewers disagreed with, such as the extended family visit on both the Edge and in the main game, along with how much airtime the players on the Edge of Extinction actually occupied on the show. But on the other hand, this was an all-winners season, something we never thought we would see on Survivor. 20 of the greatest players of all time duking it out for an enhanced prize of $2 million, and that alone can make this a must-watch season for some. The nostalgia of seeing players like Yul, Danny and Ethan, who we thought we may never see play again, combined with the new school flavour, was a really historic moment in the game. Some viewers really enjoyed the touching and heartfelt moments the Edge of Extinction had to offer through its grueling challenges. But overall, this is an iconic season, but definitely one in the short duration since its release has been polarising with the viewers. And just to think, this could have all been fixed with one simple thing: 2-hour episodes. And moving along, the next season which I've noticed is quite polarising with the viewing audience is Survivor Cook Islands. Now when we think of Cook Islands, we think of how the cast produced some legends of the game. I mean, we had Yul, Ozzy, Parvati, Penna and Candice, all of whom have returned, some of which numerous times to the game, and have cemented themselves as all-time players in Survivor history. There were a lot of fantastic moments, such as Billy and Candice's love story, Yul's power move on Penna, a really entertaining auction, Cowboys' devising of the split vote, the mutiny, and the rise of the I-24 to take control of the game. There really were some fantastic moments in this season, along with such big names in the cast, and these are key reasons as to why some people love this season so much. But on the contrary, once the I-24 took over, this season did come a little bit obvious in how it was going to finish. It can be viewed as the type of season which is really exciting the first time you see it due to the I-24 comeback story and how they managed to take control of the game, but on a rewatch isn't as exciting as you remembered. But it is also remembered for its controversial twist, by splitting tribes based on their ethnicity, which is another key reason this season is so low on a lot of people's lists. Overall, it's a really polarizing season for a lot of viewers. So up next, we're going to be discussing the first ever season of Survivor, and that is, yes, Survivor Borneo. Now, Borneo, along with Survivor the Australian Outback, shouldn't be too surprising to be considered polarising seasons, with there being old and new school fans of the show. Many of the people who have been watching Survivor since the dawn of time would put Borneo as a top 10 season just by default, as it set the tone for how the show evolved and how it is played today. Whilst many newer school viewers of the show feel like it lacks a lot of the strategic components that the new school seasons thrive upon. But that also really relates to how the show has evolved over the years as well, with Survivor first being introduced as a social experiment to see how strangers could interact and work together on an island to survive, and it has turned into a game of social and strategic politics to ensure your safety within the game. Survivor wouldn't be possible without Borneo, and it is arguably the most important season in Survivor history, but I can understand how it can be difficult to rewatch multiple times after watching a lot of modern Survivor, given how substantially the game has changed over time. And for that reason, it comes in as my third most polarizing season in Survivor history. So in the penultimate spot, we have Survivor Samoa, and this season is polarizing to the audience due to one man, and that is Russell Hantz. Now I think the perspective of this season has actually changed dramatically since it was initially aired. So when the season was originally released, we witnessed huge shifts in how the game is played, and Russell is a key cog in how the game is played today. The audience was literally blown away at how Russell played the game, strategically really like no other had ever played before, finding idols without clues, and being able to turn the game on its head to get his tribe to the end of the game. Due to this, it was widely believed that Russell was the best player of all time immediately after this season had aired. Even in the reunion, when Russell says he believed he played the best game ever, the audience applauded in agreement. But over time, many people's opinions of this season have changed, as since Russell's appearance has changed the game, it is common for people to now do what he was doing 20 seasons ago. It has also shifted a lot in the social component of the game, rather than focusing purely on the strategic component. He also received the most confessionals in any season ever, so when viewers go back to watch this season, it really is dominated by Russell from beginning to end. But when you think about how production edits episodes, they take who went home and create a story around how that person was eliminated, and Russell really was in control of every vote, so I can understand why he was so prominent overall. But the polarization comes from whether you like to see Russell's game or not, as Russell is probably the most polarizing player to ever play the game as well. Some say he's terrible and would never win, while some still believe he is the best to ever play. I personally really like this season. It was one of the most game-changing seasons ever in Survivor history, and for that alone I find it very, very entertaining on a rewatch. And finally, to me the most polarizing season of all time is Survivor Gabon. Now this is one season that I often see on people's lists as a top 5 season overall, but I also see it on others as a bottom tier season. It truly fits the category of being a love or hate season, and there are a range of reasons for this. The initial tribe selection can be a factor in creating this divide, with a schoolyard pick resulting in uneven tribes from the get-go. The cast themselves were clearly not the most strategic cast there have been, which some viewers dislike from a game standpoint, but it is also a factor which results in many viewers enjoying this season. Cluster bomb of this cast, whilst it doesn't appeal on a strategic standpoint to the viewers, it is really what makes Gabon so unique. Moments like Randy's fake idol play, Corinne's bitterness in the final tribal, to Sugar being one of the stars of the season, but mismanaging the jury like no other. This is why Gabon is really so polarizing, as some viewers may get frustrated with the lack of strategic play, while some enjoy it merely just for entertainment purposes alone. Some viewers really enjoy this confrontational nature and personalities, while some may not enjoy watching these types of players. It is definitely a character-driven season, rather than an overly game-bot type season, which provides for some unique viewing in comparison to a lot of other seasons of Survivor, and for that reason alone, it takes out the #1 spot of the most polarizing season of Survivor in its 40-season history. So what do you guys think is the most polarizing Survivor season of all time? Did it make my list? Please let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. And remember to hit subscribe with brand new discussions and other unique content being released multiple times a week. This is Analytical Strategy and we're signing out once again, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.